These are the upcoming directors. So Pascal is going to take us through the first session. So karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Patricia. Fred, let me introduce myself. My name is Pascal Oloo. I am a Kenyan living in South Africa. I've been in the business for 26 years, and I'm very excited. Each time I think about the business, I meet new people. It's as if I'm starting the business for the first time. Before I go to discuss with you the topic that I want to share with you, I don't know whether this screen is enabled to share. Can the host allow sharing? Because I think I spoke to Patricia yesterday, and she wanted to know the details about qualifying to go to Istanbul.
Okay, let me just check whether it will be possible to make you a co-host. Just a minute.
Okay. Yeah, I think in fact, that I needed to share my screen in order to take you through the session. Two things. What I wanted to discuss with you is two things: motivation versus discipline. I think both are very important in our business because motivation is the spark that starts us on the journey to become successful. But it's discipline that keeps us on that journey to the goal that we want to achieve. I think quite a number of people who are here today are married, and the way God designed the relationship between men and women, I would say motivation is the initial attraction that a man and woman have, and it is so powerful that they make lifetime commitments to get married. That is what motivation is. But after the wedding, the discipline is what keeps the marriage going because it resides in our will. A few differences between motivation and discipline. Number one, motivation arises from the vision or the picture you've seen of yourself as you go into the future. And it's also based on feelings and emotions. And it comes from the word motive, which is the reason for doing things. Whereas discipline comes from your will. That is the choices you make to do the things that you want to do. And one of the ways I have found that helped me to become, to be on the path of what I want to achieve is exercise. You see, I noticed that when I used to go to the gym, this November, December, people really relax. They gain a few pounds. In January, there is New Year's resolution. Then the first 2 weeks of the gym is full. On the third week, only 2/3 of the people who started going to the gym are still there. By the end of January, only the disciplined are remaining in the gym. Why is that? Because people mix up between motivation and discipline. Motivation is the reason that gets you on the path to becoming what you want to do. But discipline is the thing that keeps you going. And discipline comes from our will. Once we will to do something, discipline is what helps us to go the extra mile so that you can become successful. Let me just, maybe if you give me a few minutes, I will, now that you're not able to share this, I think Fred must be having challenges getting us the screen sharing right. Let me just take the notes so that I can discuss them with you as we go through the difference between discipline and motivation. First, motivation gives us the initial spark. Discipline keeps us on the path. Motivation is temporary, discipline is habitual. Motivation is driven by feelings, while discipline resides in the will. So, which is the most important of these? I would not say that one is important than the other, because both of them have different uses in our lives. Motivation gives us the initial spark, because without that initial spark, you don't start the journey. But discipline habitual, because 90 things we do every day are habitual. If you think about what you did this morning until evening, you will find that your daily routine is actually habitual. The things you do over and over again, if you think about them, you will find that you do the same things every single day. So how do you change, or how do you acquire the habits of becoming successful? To turn the motivation into discipline. Number one, you need very clear goals to be able to become successful. Clear goals simply means they have to be written in paper, and they have to be clear in your mind, and they have to be clear in your imagination. That's one. The second thing is plan daily activities, because daily activities is what actually will get you to where you want to go. The third thing is you need to decide to do what you need to do irrespective of how you feel. Because sometimes when you started on a journey to success, a lot of times maybe you decided you want to exercise. Sometimes, for example, when you're in a cold place, it's cold, the blanket is very well excited. The blanket tempts you to sleep a few more minutes. So the thing is, you need to do what you need to do irrespective of how you feel. Okay, I'm not talking about being ill. If you're physically ill, then it's a good idea to actually rest your body. Get treatment, take supplements, see a doctor, and all that stuff. I'm talking about the wrestling you have in the morning between doing what you should do and doing what you feel like doing. And there's a big difference between the two. When you want to do the things you should do, that leads me to another element, is have a good self-talk with yourself. You need to, in fact, I have found that when you speak to yourself about the things you want to do, that resistance that you have within you to do what you should do becomes weaker. So have a very good self-talk with yourself. For example, if you are, you said every day you want to show the business to 2 people. You pick up the phone and then you look at the person's number and you say, okay, I don't think this guy will want to hear about the business. The thing to do is you need to be able to see yourself going on stage, either at taking a step to director, or you're taking a step to world team, or you're taking a step to PT. You need to tell yourself, okay, call this one person. This is the person that will lead. This is your next director. You need to talk yourself that way so that what you want to do becomes stronger within your will than what you feel like doing. So you need to discipline yourself simply means that you need to put your will to follow through on the plans that you have made for the day. Always picture yourself after completing the task. One of the people that I've admired for a long time is Eliud Kipchoge, and he keeps saying that the thing that keeps me running every day, he runs about 200 kilometers a week when he's preparing for a big marathon. And the thing that keeps him going, he always pictures himself crossing the line, either as number 1 or breaking the world record. He keeps repeating that image in his mind, and that keeps his discipline going, because exercising is hard. It's not easy. Running day in, day out is hard. You need to have motivation. You need to have good nutrition. You need to rest your body. You need to pace yourself very well. That comes from picturing yourself completing the task that you're engaged in. A very important thing to think about is this: do not look at what you're going through, but where you're going to. If you know the difference between those two, you will find that you start acquiring the discipline that helps you to go and become successful in your business. So do not look at what you're going through, look at where you're going to. Because many times we feel discouraged, we talk to people, nothing seems to be happening, and we may be tempted to think that the business doesn't work. No, the business has a growing season. You just need to keep talking to people. You need to keep planting the seeds. You need to keep planting the ideas. And if you do that, you will find that you start acquiring the discipline that helps you to become successful in the business. So those are the few things I wanted to discuss with you about the difference between motivation and discipline. Motivation is temporary. It is based on feelings. It is the initial spark that starts you going. Whereas discipline is a habitual effort or action that you need to instill in yourself that keeps you going, whether you feel like or doing it or not. It comes from having very, very clear goals. It comes from having planning the daily activities, doing things when irrespective of how you feel, having a good self-talk with yourself. Always picture yourself completing the task that you want to accomplish, and do not look at what you're going through, look at where you're going to. If you have these few ideas, I'm sure you will acquire the habit of becoming successful in the business in the long term. So those are some of the things I wanted to share with you, the difference between motivation and discipline. Discipline will help you get where you want. I mean, if you look at the people who've been really successful in their whole lives, discipline has become a very important element of their lives. And the last thing is you need to keep track of the things you're doing every day. 2 or 3 days ago, I came to realize I've been exercising for about a year, but I've been using the same weights. So yes, the other day I was listening to a tape and said, look, you need to monitor everything that you do. Then it occurred to me that I've been, and there's no improvement. I don't know whether I'm improving or not in exercising. So I put additional weights on the things I'm using and did reps. I realized that actually I was stagnant. My exercise progress weight on each arm by about 3 kilos, and it's now a bit more effort to exercise than normal. So and the idea is to keep doing this, and eventually you will notice the changes and the improvements you have in whatever you are doing. The same with our business. Monitor what you're doing. The number of people you speak to, the number of customers, the number of prospects you follow up. Monitor your activities so that at the end of the week, you can actually check, okay, I've spoken to this number of people. How many have said yes? Or how many have said no? How many have become customers? Then think, is there something I can improve on this? If you do that, you will find that you will actually, you start to realize that actually the effort you're putting is not wasted. You're planting the seeds and some of it will germinate. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your attention. I want to hand over back to our MC.
Thank you, Pascal. As always, short and to the point. I'm going to welcome Fred to take us to the next session.
Okay, thank you so much, Patricia. Thank you, Pascal, for that session. Thank you, all the senior managers, for having introduced yourselves. Fred Gishuki is my name. I joined the business, I think, also 26 years ago, like Pascal. Joined when I was a receptionist, broke, earning very little money. And I came into the business by faith. It was not registered in Kenya, but I took a step of faith. And the business has paid off big time. Became my own boss at the age of 30, quit employment to do this business full time. Grew the business. And I always like sharing. My first check was 300 shillings. The highest check I've ever gotten is $13,000. So there's good money in your life. And if anybody ever challenges you whether there's money in your life, just remember that particular statement. Because where on earth would you get somebody growing from 300 shillings to $13,000? That's incredible. Been able to travel to so many countries. I've been able to acquire so many properties. I'm a landlord courtesy of Neolife. So the business works. I got married through Neolife. and it's a total value opportunity. So today, my session is on team building, and I like doing it in a way that actually is easy to understand, because sometimes team building can be a bit technical if we go the book way. And when it's too technical, then you wonder, how do I put it into practice? How do I do it? Yes, I'm here. I have a team. Or I don't even have a team. I'm starting a team afresh. Maybe the ones you had have slowed down or dropped off. That happens. But then in team building, the fact that people join and don't do anything, or the fact that people join and quit, is also part of team building. It's a positive thing when somebody quits the business, and I'll explain why. When somebody quits your business and says, I'm not interested, or just stops doing the business, sometimes you get discouraged and you wonder, am I doing the right thing? The truth of the matter is that some will quit, but they haven't really quit the business. It is just that their time has not come to either do the business or consume the product, or even bring you somebody who will become a 5-diamond director. So the first thing in team building is that you have to have the attitude of a sower. And you have to understand that sometimes you'll throw the seeds and some will fall on rocky ground and they will not grow. Some will start growing and they'll be choked off by the thorns. Some will be eaten by the birds. And sometimes you have to make a choice. Are you going to stay and plant more seeds, or are you going to chase the birds because they ate your seeds? Now, Jim Rohn says, if you chase the birds, then you leave the field, which means you have quit the business yourself. So don't worry about birds, don't worry about thorns, which are going to choke your seeds. And thorns are the people who discourage your people. They tell them this thing cannot work. And usually there are people who are very close to them, and they steal your best distributors, or some of the new companies that come in and say, we are just like Neolife, only cheaper, only better. And they also steal your distributors. But the key thing about this whole scenario is that you just need to keep on planting. You just need to keep on planting. Don't worry what happens to the seed. The only time you should worry is if you do anything yourself that will make the person quit. That time you should worry, and you should check yourself and see where you went wrong. But if you did the right things, you got somebody into the business, you did a kit opening, you exposed him to the trainings, the positive books and all that, and the person decides to quit or slow down, get excited, because that is part of team building. Because the same people who slow down, later in life, maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years down the line, they become your strongest distributors. These people who don't do anything in the business, a year, 2 years down the line, bring you business that shocks you. And I always like this particular story, because Pascal is my brother in the business, because we share the same upline, Hansi Cronier. But the person who sponsored Hansi is called Mike Van Deventer. Mike Van Deventer stayed in the business for 3 years, coming for training, had not sponsored anybody in 3 years. He was doing 100 points, but he was coming for training, but he was doing nothing. After 3 years, he sponsored 5 people. Hansi was one of them. Mike Van Deventer, the last time I checked, was doing more than 2 million points in a month. 2 million points in a month, the last time I checked. Now you can imagine Charlie Bolton, who is the sponsor of Mike Van Deventer, would have given up on Mike. He would have stopped inviting him for training, would have stopped even encouraging him to do anything, because really he was not doing anything for 3 years. Can you imagine somebody for 3 years is coming for training, doing 100 points, one on and off, and you still keep encouraging him. You see, if he had given up on Mike, he would have lost a business that gives him more than 2 million points a month. So I just want to show you what is possible when you do team building and you understand how to build your team the right way. If you sponsor 3 people, we always talk about sponsoring 3 people. The reason why you're sponsoring 3 people is because one will quit. One will stop doing the business and become a wholesale customer, and one will work the business. Once you understand that, then you don't worry about it, because I've met distributors and senior managers who tell me, Fred, why am I sponsoring? And the ones that are there are not doing anything. And even the ones that, even this one I bring might not even do anything. So you reach a point whereby you kill them before they even get in, because your attitude is already wrong. You're just thinking even this one won't do anything, just like the rest that are not doing anything. And that is because you are not understanding the game of numbers where sponsoring is concerned. 1 out of 3 will work immediately. But then the exciting thing is, as time goes by, the one who is working might stop working. But then one of the other 2 will pick it up and run with you. And then the one who was negative, the one who even doesn't pick your calls and everything, we might end up being the person who gives you the biggest business. So the trick of the game is this: work with people at their own level. The one who wants to work, run with him, do phoning, bring him for meetings, go do seminars with him, help him to grow, let him become the best that he can be. The one who does not want to work, once you have assessed and you've seen he doesn't want to come for meetings, don't keep pushing him for meetings. Encourage him to use the products, because he'll become a faithful product user. And who knows, one day he might be your Mike Van Deventer. The one who becomes negative, love him and don't fail to pick his call. Don't fail to call him once in a while and find out how he's doing. Because let me tell you one thing, circumstances change. And if you are here for the long haul, you see, for me, one thing that I made, a commitment that I made when I joined Neolife, there was a cassette we were given by Charlie Bolton. It was in the kit. And I think it was Jim Rohn who was saying in that cassette that in life, in anything that you do, if you want to succeed, you have to burn your bridges. What does that mean? You have to decide that I will either make this work for me or I will die trying. Now, when you say that I will die trying, then the world has this thing of opening up and allowing you to get what you want. And the cassette says, human beings don't die easy. So when you're serious and you're focused and you say, I am not quitting this business, I will stick in here until I make it work, then you'll find that the world will open up and it will give you what you want. Yeah. So if you're in here and you say, I am here for the long haul, which means we talk about the 2 to 5 year plan. We say after 2 years, assess your progress. But after 5 years, that is when you're graduating. Because even a degree, you graduate after 4 to 5 years, depending on which country you are in. So the truth of the matter is, be committed yourself. And the reason why you need to be committed is this. For you to build a team, the key word of team building is duplication. You duplicate yourself. So if you have some papers that you're duplicating and the original is faded, what will happen to the copies? They'll be more faded than the original. So the point here is this, and I like what Pascal did as the first session, because if you work on yourself, and Jim Rohn says it, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work harder on yourself and you make sure that you're doing things right, the moment you sponsor somebody else, he will come and duplicate what you're doing. So let's say, for example, every month you're doing 100 points personal, and you're not doing more than 100 points. Then it means if you sponsor somebody, they'll probably do 90 or 50. But if you're doing 250 points and you sponsor somebody, they'll probably do 150. Yeah. If you're sponsoring people every month you bring in 3 people and you sponsor somebody, that person will duplicate what you're doing. And assuming that they'll do slightly less than what you're doing, then they'll probably be sponsoring 2 people. Yeah. So always work on yourself. Know that you're the original, that you are copying other people. And I've always found it interesting when I sit with leaders and they complain about their team. This one is not working, that one is not working, that one is not doing, that one is not doing. And for me, when I see my team is not working, I don't blame them, I blame myself. And I ask myself, what am I not doing right? Where am I failing in my duplication? I take ownership of that. I don't blame anybody else, I blame myself. I don't blame the system, I don't blame the marketing plan, I don't blame the company, I don't blame the products. Because I say this, same product, same plan, How comes others are soaring high and I'm having this challenge? Then the problem is not the product or the plan or the company, the problem is me. And you see, many people fail to make that distinction. And that is why you find somebody living near life, going to another company, and they forget that they are going with themselves. And they're the problem. Because if you're not able to sponsor in your life, if you go to another network marketing company, guess what? You have to sponsor. If you're not able to build a team, go to another company, you have to build a team. If you're not able to move the products, go to another company, you still have to move some products. So rather work on yourself. And one thing that I learned very early in the business, my upline taught me this. Always have this statement in your self-talk. Every day and in every way, I am getting better and better. Every day and in every way, I am getting better and better. So when you come for training, you learn something new. You come for this training, you learn something new. You start getting better. You put it into practice. You see the results that you're getting. And eventually, you'll become a very, very successful individual in your life. So be committed yourself so that you can also duplicate and be able to get new people who are just like you and even better. Now, once you've worked on the original copy, and I was sharing with one of my distributors that building this business is similar to the instructions you're given to a plane. That when you're in a plane, when there's a problem in the plane and the masks come down, you are told that before you put a mask for oxygen for your baby, newborn baby, first put a mask on your own nose. The reason is this: if you try to put it on the baby, then you lose consciousness, you will die and the baby will die. But if you first take some few seconds and wear the mask yourself, then you now take time to put the mask on the baby. You are able to breathe. So no matter what happens, at least you're alive. You can take care of this baby. Even if the baby goes unconscious, you can do some first aid and resuscitate them and get them breathing again. Same thing with our business. You start with yourself. Make sure that the copy, the original, is a good original so that you can start making good copies. So work on yourself. Then start duplicating. Now, how do you duplicate? Duplication can be called, can be done through mentoring your new distributors. How do you mentor your new distributors? For me, I simplify it this way. Spend time with your team. Let me tell you, we make our money when we are seated. If you're sponsoring people and you're not spending time with them, how do you spend time with your team? Give them a call, talk to them on the phone. Do a Zoom meeting with them if you cannot meet them physically. Have tea with them. Take time. These are your friends, they're your buddies. You have committed for a life journey with these guys. Take time to spend some time with them. Talk to them, just listen to them, see what is going on in their lives. The more time you spend with them, the more they'll pick up on the things that you're doing. They will share with you their challenges. You will make some calls with them. You will do some follow-ups with them. You'll help them to get some customers. But that communication, that contact will enable you to mentor them and they'll become successful and they will grow their business. And because of time, without even putting so much information about mentoring, everything starts and stops when you spend time with your team. But if you sponsor your people and the time you take like 3 days to do the kit opening, you're not talking to them, you only call them for meetings, you send them a message, and they come to this big Zoom meeting where there are so many people. Let me tell you, it will be very difficult to grow the business that way. You will need a seriously motivated person to actually grow that business because they are getting a lot of negativity out there. In fact, there's a rule that we used to, that one of the leaders used to say, the first 1 month, you should call your person daily. He was doing it that way. That's a bit extreme, but you need to talk to that person as frequently as possible so that you can help them to go through the first challenges that they are going through and they can start becoming strong leaders like you. So without getting into so much because of time, I think I'm going to stop there and take it back to our MC. Thank you, and back to you, Patricia.
Thank you, Fred. You always have such a way to do topics. I would never have been able to present it like that. Now it's already 9 o'clock, so I am thinking we need to wind down. We have someone who has joined us. Probably she can unmute herself and say hello. Doreen, are you able to unmute yourself?
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry I joined the
evening.
meeting late. Today I have my Bible study up to 8:30. That's why I was late.
So welcome, Doreen. So what we have learned today, it's powerful. So I feel we need to put it into practice. Fred, do we do a recognition or we close the meeting? Because
yeah, maybe I can just mention that to the team. This month has started on a very high note. I just want to encourage the team to really take advantage of the month of September. The business tends to pick up as the year progresses. And especially in Kenya now, we are through with elections and it's time for work. And guys, let's go out, let's do what we can. Let's do the best, let's put our best foot forward. And I know you will succeed. I know already, I know Purity has already sponsored one person. I don't know that there are some people who have sponsored from your side, Patricia.
Not yet, but we already have people who've done over 100 PV.
Oh, we have some. Who has done over 100?
Yes, the Nabangis have already done over 100. They've done 143 the last time I checked.
Fantastic, fantastic. I can tell you, I've already done, I've sponsored 2 people and my personal PV, I think I'm at 650. So it's a great month. Let's go out there, let's do our best. And let me tell you, sometimes it is as simple as putting something, just putting an advert on Facebook. I can tell you, like, one of the people whom I've sponsored this month, I had put, I have a Facebook page and I do the regular postings. Whenever we have a meeting on Saturday, I post something. Once in a while, I post something. And he looked at my page, he liked it. He got in touch with me and he said, hi, I saw you on Health and Wealth 101. I'm interested in what you have. So I said, can I call you? He said, yes, call me. I called him. There, I want you to note the personal touch. Before, I never used to call. I would start discussing with them online, and it really doesn't work. So I gave him a call. We had a conversation. I gave him a bit of my story. He liked it. I said, we can do a Zoom meeting and I can explain to you more. He said, yeah, let's do a Zoom meeting tomorrow. Because one of the things that is important in our business is doing a one-on-one. So the next day I met him via Zoom before I invited him to the big Zoom meeting, and I explained again, I gave him my story and I explained a little bit. And he said, my friend, I don't need to be convinced further. I'm convinced I'm going to join this thing. In fact, I have some Fuliza, but tomorrow I'm joining. The next day he didn't join, but I invited him to a big meeting. He came, he saw the Swahili meeting. And that day we had over 400 people online. He liked it. And he immediately after the meeting ended, he sent me the money for registration. I've never met him. I've never seen him in my life. I've only seen a picture of him as I'm talking to him online. But physically, I've never seen him. I don't think I would recognize him if I met him physically. But he has joined the business. Why? Because I put some things out there on Facebook and he liked what he saw and he brought himself. So sometimes the little activities that you do, you might think are not adding up, but they are counting for something. And just to illustrate also, on the call, there's Naomi and there's Penina. Penina put a picture on her status. Naomi saw it, long shot of the story. Both are senior managers as we speak. So let's take those activities and definitely they will transform your business. Thank you and God bless you. I wish you the best month ever.
All right. Good night, everyone. I guess you can unmute yourselves and say good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good
night. Thanks for the challenge.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night. God bless you.
Good night. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.